There is a symptom that affects nearly half of all adults over 70 in the United States. It is dismissed in routine medical appointments. It is sold against with oral sprays and overnight gels that address only the surface sensation. It has generated a multi-million-dollar product market built entirely around managing the experience of the symptom without ever asking why the symptom is there. The symptom is waking up every morning with a severely dry mouth. The reason it matters is not the discomfort. The reason it matters is what a 2022 study published in the journal Gerontology confirmed in a population of over 1,000 older adults. In the vast majority of cases, morning dry mouth in seniors is not a standalone complaint. It is a symptom, consistently and specifically pointing toward one of 5 underlying conditions, at least one of which carries serious long-term health consequences if unidentified. Here is what makes this finding quietly alarming. One of those 5 conditions affects an estimated 39 million Americans. Research consistently shows that the majority of them have no idea they have it. And their first visible symptom, often for years before any clinical diagnosis, is the dry mouth. They are drinking water, buying oral gel, adjusting their diet. The condition is progressing. We must act now to identify the underlying cause. Today, at the Eternal Vigor Way, I am a health researcher. I am going to walk you through all 5 causes, the biology behind each one, the specific signs that distinguish one from another, and the exact steps that the evidence supports for identifying which one applies to you. One of these 5 will be relevant to your situation. One of them may require a conversation with your physician this week, not next month. Stay through all 5 and through the action protocol at the end, because the 5th cause is the one most consistently overlooked, and it disproportionately affects women in their late 50s and 60s. Before the 5 causes, the biological role of saliva deserves a brief, honest account, because understanding what it does makes the consequences clearer. The average adult produces between 1 and 1.5 liters of saliva every 24 hours. This volume is critical for oral health protection. It neutralizes oral acid continuously, preventing the demineralization of tooth enamel. It maintains a protective coating over the mucous membranes of the mouth and throat. It delivers antimicrobial enzymes, primarily lysozyme and lactoferrin, that suppress the bacterial populations responsible for both decay and periodontal disease. It lubricates the swallowing mechanism, reducing the aspiration risk in older adults, and it initiates starch digestion through salivary amylase before food reaches the stomach. Each of these drug classes reduces salivary gland output through different mechanisms, some by blocking acetylcholine-mediated secretion, others by reducing circulating fluid volume, others by affecting the autonomic regulation of glandular activity. When multiple medications with different dry mouth mechanisms are taken simultaneously, their effects compound rather than simply add. The tooth decay that dentists observe accelerating in older adults, the swallowing difficulties, the persistent oral infections, these are frequently downstream consequences of chronic nighttime dry mouth rather than independent problems. These include antihistamines, diuretics, tricyclic and SSRI antidepressants, anticholinergic bladder medications, and certain cardiac medications. Over 400 prescription and over-the-counter medications list xerostomia, the clinical term for dry mouth, as a documented side effect. A 2020 review published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors taking 3 or more medications simultaneously had a 63% higher likelihood of chronic dry mouth compared to those on fewer drugs. The first action: write down every medication and supplement you take. Bring that list to your next appointment and ask about the combinations. Obstructive sleep apnea occurs when the soft tissue of the upper airway collapses partially or fully during sleep, interrupting airflow. When the nasal airway is restricted, the body compensates by mouth breathing. Mouth breathing evaporates saliva at a dramatically faster rate, producing the severe sandpaper-like dryness that many people wake up to. But the dry mouth is not the clinical concern. The apneic events themselves are. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that untreated obstructive sleep apnea in adults over 60 increases stroke risk by 60% and significant cardiovascular disease risk by 40%. Step 3. The blood sugar check. If you have not had a fasting glucose or HbA1c test in the past year, schedule one this week. A 2021 study from the National Institutes of Health found that 83% of adults with poorly controlled type 2 diabetes reported frequent dry mouth as an ongoing symptom. In well-controlled diabetes, saliva production returns toward normal. The figure that makes this cause particularly important: approximately 1 in 3 adults with diabetes in the United States is currently undiagnosed. The HbA1c provides a 3-month average of blood sugar levels and requires a single blood draw. It is the most efficient screening tool for this purpose. Before causes 4 and 5, I want to stop here. 3 of the 5 causes we have just covered, medication interaction, sleep apnea, and undiagnosed diabetes, are conditions that a morning symptom most people accept as unremarkable may have been pointing to for months or years. This is exactly what the Eternal Vigor Way exists to deliver: the connection between common, dismissed symptoms and the conditions they represent. Subscribe right now before we continue, because Cause 5, the autoimmune condition that is one of the most systematically underdiagnosed in women over 60, is the one most people have genuinely never heard of. Subscribe, then keep watching. Dehydration as a cause of dry mouth is intuitive. What is not widely understood is the mechanism by which aging specifically undermines the body's ability to detect and correct it. The hypothalamic thirst response, the signal that drives the subjective experience of thirst, diminishes measurably with age. Older adults do not feel thirsty. The hypothalamic thirst response, the signal that drives the subjective experience of thirst, diminishes measurably with age. Research published in the European Journal of Nutrition confirmed that adults over 65 are chronically underhydrated at population level compared to younger adults, with a critical distinction: they do not feel thirsty. By the time an older adult reaches for water in response to thirst, they may already be operating at a fluid deficit sufficient to reduce salivary gland output. Fluid intake needs to be scheduled rather than reactive. A minimum of 8 glasses of water spread evenly across waking hours, not consumed in large volumes at single sittings, maintains the consistent hydration state that salivary gland function requires. The average time from onset to diagnosis is 6 to 7 years. Distinguishing features: dry mouth all day, sandy eyes, and joint pain. Diagnosis involves blood tests for specific autoantibodies and sometimes a minor salivary gland biopsy. Early identification allows for management. List every prescription and over-the-counter medication and every supplement. Bring the list to your pharmacist and ask specifically about cumulative anticholinergic burden and whether any timing adjustments or substitutions could reduce the overnight dry mouth effect. Step 4. Deliberate hydration. Replace thirst-driven drinking with scheduled drinking. Set reminders: 16 ounces upon waking and before bed. Step 5. Symptomatic relief. While investigating, use an oral rinse or gel containing xylitol before sleep. Xylitol-based products provide moisture retention and mild antimicrobial protection simultaneously. Avoid any mouthwash containing alcohol, which worsens dry mouth. These products manage the overnight discomfort while the underlying cause is being identified. They are not a resolution. Morning dry mouth that occurs every day in an adult over 60 is a signal. It is a consistent, specific signal pointing toward one of 5 identifiable conditions, each of which has a diagnostic pathway and each of which can be addressed. Understanding the 5 causes does not require a medical degree. It requires the information that most appointments do not have time to provide. You now have it. This is the Eternal Vigor Way. Your morning dry mouth is not normal aging. It is a message. Now you know where to look.